All right, good evening, everybody. Excuse the background noises. I'm in the garage and we're painting something, so I'm trying not to die of the paint fumes. But want to welcome you to this live. I haven't done this in a while, and I've been kind of on Mike's lives and Mike's podcast and done my videos. I really didn't was kind of reluctant to do lives for a while, but the thing about it is. Today has been a very, very scary day for the American Republic. There have been a lot of differences for America, the way we think of things, how we do things. But the one thing that always stood is the rule of law, your due process, the Constitution. And then came the new Trump administration. I want to start this with something I think we all need to acknowledge, and we all need to change our focus on who is the true opposition at this point. And that is, Trump is not the president of the United States in the sense that he's not the leader. Okay. He is not the one pulling the strings. A lot of the stuff that Trump has said and done really is above his mental state. He doesn't know how half the shit works. You see, every time he signs one of these executive orders, they present it to him, big and pretty, because he's a child. He needs things that are big and pretty. And then they explain everything what he's going to sign, then he signs it. So when he asks questions about it, he doesn't know. Doesn't want to know. He doesn't know. So he can't answer it properly other than with nonsense stuff. The people behind all this that we let in on November 5th is Project 2025, or basically the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation has been around a while, and they've been playing the long game. And they started with judicial. And then they went after free speech in the sense that they went after the political correctness shit to make it okay to not to say hateful speech and say, hey, just freedom of speech. Don't come after me about that. It allowed, it ground away at the rule of law. Anytime you would protect someone's rights, is considered woke. If you go after, if you prosecute someone who's done something bad that's politically right-wing, they consider that woke. That's the fight and battle we're after right now. They are running the show. We let them in. And now Project 2025 is going through page by page. The destruction of the federal government. If you've seen it, the destruction of the federal government was one. Slow, taking it out. Our support systems, our money, Medicaid, Social Security, make everyone in panic mode. Step 2, crush the economy. As you can see, the whole tariffs thing is falling apart. You know it, and I know this was wrong. There was nothing to mess with the tariffs. There was nothing to mess with the economy. It was a creation by Trump. They showed him what tariffs were, and he thought it was a good idea. And then Project 2025 rolled with it. The Heritage Foundation pushed it out. They are the power behind everything. So what they're doing with the tariffs is basically, we're going to rip the economy apart, create shortages. Shortages create people's anxiety, and then they turn on one another. They turn on one another because they don't have enough food or they don't have enough items. And then jobs become scarce. And then they cut out the social support system, unemployment, Social Security, food stamps. They cut those out, make people desperate. Desperate people do dumb things, and desperate people latch on to ideologies like Christian nationalism. As you can see, everything's coaxed in Christian nationalism. The next thing they go after is American history and history itself. They're trying to shift the history away from what happened, what happened, to their own new version of fantasy. This is 1984 shit. Get rid of remarks about black history, American history, all the history that isn't, they consider European history, and even that history they're twisting. So that's step 3. So you can see all the panic, the anxiety. Now comes the scapegoats. The immigrants and people of color and Latinos have been the scapegoats of the Republican Party for a long time. The whole thing about immigrants and all that, they have been pumping that shit for a decade, over a decade now. Fox News, the caravans, Fox News this, Fox News that, the fear they felt, they fed in there, is what drove it. And down that, so when it came down to push comes to shove, these people bought the con. Then you toss in on November 5th, you toss in the Palestinian war, where now you have issues with Palestinians going after the wrong people, trusting Trump was going to be okay. Now Palestine's going to not exist. And then they made sure that the Democrats panicked and did not go with Joe Biden as presidential candidate. I'll say this for everyone. As much as I did respect Kamala Harris, the problem is Joe Biden would have beaten Donald Trump. It would have been close, but he would have won the swing states. A black woman was not going to be palatable for the far left, the far right, and a lot of people just didn't want to vote for that. So that's all we're looking at right now. Understand, these are all stages of Project 2025. Elon Musk got involved with money because he knew he could make money off this. So here we are. So we've been over 100 days into the Trump administration, and the biggest thing has been the immigration and ICE. ICE has turned it up into basically secret police. Deals have been done behind closed doors with local law enforcement to let ICE do its thing and support ICE. You saw what happened in Tennessee a week ago. Tennessee's Highway Patrol was helping ICE. You saw that guy smoking a stogie after they were arresting people. And then today in Worcester, Massachusetts, that ICE raid helped by local police. And so basically, they have recruited local police, and from what I heard, citizens, see, Proud Boys, noticed that Enrico Tarrio had a meeting with Donald Trump. What a coincidence. And then ICE all of a sudden is making deals with all these so-called deputized citizens to help them with their cause. And ICE is not going after criminals, they're going after everyone they can. Fuck, they were in Hawaii. ICE is in Hawaii looking for people. Okay, when I went to Hawaii years ago, everyone thought I was native. I got a lot of, hey bro. I mean, it was great. So what are you going to do? And what are they targeting? Filipinos. Filipino teachers. It's crazy. But it's about numbers for ICE and Trump. Because I'll never forget and never forgive at the Republican National Convention, those white folks sitting there with signs that said mass deportations. Mass deportations. And that's what they're getting. Because every time we bring up the economy and bring up what's going, all that, they say, yeah, but that's not what I voted for. Them deporting children with cancer is what they voted for. And I will say this. And then it comes to today. Today is a bellwether, everybody. Listen to me very closely. This is a scary point we're at. They arrested the mayor of Newark, New Jersey. They arrested the mayor of Newark, New Jersey because he dare have a press conference or a protest outside an ICE facility. They called it trespassing. They arrested him and pushed out to congressmen too. ICE did that. And they weren't even... And the worst thing about it, you motherfuckers don't show your face. Show your faces. If you're going to be the new American Secret Police, show your faces. Show you. You're no different than any white supremacist group who hide their faces. Alright? You are hiding your faces. Well, we're working because we don't want people to identify you. You know what? It's time to start identifying those people. This is what's going on. And so they arrested an elected official of a city, an elected servant, public servant, on literally trumped up charges. They did. And I mean trumped up literally and figuratively. They arrested a mayor of a major city of the United States for speaking out of what ICE was doing in the city and violating their laws. They arrested him. And it's called change with trespassing. And Alina Habba, who literally couldn't do traffic court, is now the freaking federal prosecutor for that area, is saying, okay, well, no one's above the law. He didn't break a law. It was a peaceful protest. It's his fucking city that he's the mayor of. And they arrested him on trumped up charges. And here we are. And now the coup de grace. Stephen Miller. And if you've ever seen... thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. If you've ever seen Stephen Miller, I don't know if you believe in reincarnation, but I got a feeling that he is the reincarnation of Heinrich Himmler. And I'm saying it because if you listen to him speak, the only thing missing is a black uniform and jackboots. Yeah, I'm saying it, and I know that's an issue with TikTok because you can say racist bullshit, but you can't go after the people who are saying racist bullshit without getting yourself screwed. And that's TikTok. But the point I'm saying is, he stood up there in a meeting, in a impromptu press conference, and announced to the fucking world that the White House is considering suspending the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus. Habeas corpus is not a privilege, it's a right to every citizen and non-citizen of the United States. You have a fucking right. A right to question your detainment in front of a judge in court. For them to bring charges. For them to say why you're incarcerated. You have a right to writ of habeas corpus, which leads to due process under the Fifth Amendment. You have that right. And that man up there stood there, rolled out a whole bunch of bullshit gobbledygook. No, sir. The executive branch of the government does not control the fucking judicial or the legislative. It's part of the three branches of government, and each check each other. Just because a judge says you can't do something doesn't mean they violate the Constitution. He lies. That was gaslighting. He lied. And as an American, and I don't care your political bent. You know, guys, I don't care if you're conservative or liberal. Because the one thing about it, we could fight over fucking policy all day long. But the law always stood. Your rights always stood. And now, that man is saying that he wants to remove your basic right as an American. There's nothing about right, left, MAGA, non-MAGA, far left, light-tail liberals. No, it's all about power. And Stephen Miller said that. And We are not under an invasion. What is an invasion? That's a foreign power on your soil attacking you. No one's doing that. This is an excuse to go after those who are opposing the Trump administration. And trust me, I'll be honest, my gut is tight because I don't know what's next. Because when they start going after Aaron Parnas, that's a problem. It started with one guy, started with an influencer who said to Pam Bondi, and then it went to Fox News. Will Cain was an ESPN sports guy. And one thing I've known about sports guys, I used to listen to sports radio all the time. The majority of sports radio guys are old white guys or white guys who don't respect the sport they're covering and think they're better than the sport. And a good amount of them become conservative talk show hosts. And Will Cain's one of them. And he put the video of Aaron Parnas saying, hey, there are reports from other people that ICE may be doing raids in D.C. and said that means that he's tipping him off and a danger ICE agents needs to be arrested. And they're not kidding. They're not. And next will be Midas Touch. And next will be who knows. And if they're going to start arresting mayors, they're going to start arresting senators, congressmen. Didn't Trump say they need to arrest the entire Democratic Congress for treason? I mean, this is where we're at. And I don't understand anyone who could support this, because this is not about politics anymore, guys. This is about your rights. Your rights as an American citizen. I mean, here's the thing. I don't have to like what you think or what you believe. I really don't. That's my right as an American. But I don't have to stifle it. Or if I disagree with it, I'll tell you I disagree with it. But the point, for God Almighty's sake, we always had the rule of law. We always respected the law. Now they don't respect the law. They are the law. Period. And to watch that Uber Führer out there talking like this is what we're going to do should scare the pants out of everyone. And don't think they're not coming for you. Don't think they're not coming for you. They will come for everybody. A matter of time. And I'm going to say this as a Latino. The worst thing about Latinos who voted for Trump, which pissed me off, is I have to fucking defend myself every goddamn time when I speak on Trump and these issues, because I can't get around like, hey, you're 60% of your folk voted for Trump. Yeah, I know those pendejos did it, but it wasn't me, and now they're paying the price. I hear that all the time. Well, I didn't think he'll come after me. I mean, I was in a live where there's a guy who's Mexican from Texas, hadn't been immigrated, and he's telling me, first of all, he accused my parents of being here illegally. Just so you know, guys, if you don't know me, haven't followed me, my father is Puerto Rican, God rest his soul. So I'm an American citizen, born in Southern California. Lived in Southern California most of my life, been in Georgia for the last 16 years. Different world. But the point being is, I'm an American citizen, proud of my country for all its faults. Let me back up a minute. The biggest problem we have right now with a lot of the far right and you guys is that you can't admit that America has faults. America has faults. It's got problems. I was just watching an episode of Will Trent, and there was a homeless vet there. That's a reality. Why is there a homeless vet? Why are vets homeless? Why do vets have problems getting medical care? Why? Because we don't take care of business. We don't take care of our own business. We keep progressing backwards. We blame those people who are in that situation. Sometimes it's not their fault. Sometimes it is. But we don't give them help and they get like that. It shouldn't be like that. And the problem is that we accept it. We shouldn't accept this. And I'm not being woke or not being anything like that. Because trust me, I think that American business should roll the way it should in a proper way. But that's about ready to take a dump due to Trump's and his tariffs. But I don't want to really talk about that, honestly, tonight. We know about that. I mean, the man called the Mattel a country. We know what that is. What you got to know is that he's the front that everyone stares at while the mechanics behind him start. All those people behind him that sit there are planning to take apart the country so they can rebuild in their image. And if you don't believe that can happen, look up the documentary. It's called The Handmaid's Tale. Yeah, I know that's a work of fiction, but it's turning out to be more and more a documentary every goddamn day that I live here. And again, I love my country. I don't like this. It shouldn't be like this. This is not the way stuff should go down. And so that's what frustrates me. It's not about what you believe, culture wars and all that. That's all bullshit. They're going after our rights, guys. They're going after our rights. And here's the thing. Black creators have stayed out of it. And they said, don't go into protest. And you know what? Honestly, I took that kind of hard because, you should stand up. But I watched 2 weeks ago when you had black protesters in Philadelphia. And what happened? There was no arrest at all these mass protests at all. Police stood by. The minute there was color added to the protest, police showed up and were brutal to those people of color. I saw it. That reverend in the rotunda who was praying in the rotunda was arrested by Capitol Police. Gee, he was black. And I get you do not want to be out there. I get it. And apparently there's going to be mass protests tomorrow on May 10th. I don't know how that's going to roll now after seeing all this. These guys have stepped it up. And I don't know it's because they're anticipating trying to get around the economic disaster is about to happen. But I don't know what to say half the time. I really don't, guys. I respect all of you that follow me. And a lot of people tell me, will you tell the truth? I try. I'm not the best. I just see it as it is. I've been here a long damn time on this planet. And I've been an American citizen all my life. And I really do love my country. Our country is gorgeous. And it's full of good people. I've been there really... I've been to Hawaii. You ever been to Hawaii? It's beautiful. And the people are beautiful people there. They took good care of you. And it's such a nice feel. I lived in California all my life. Central California, Southern California, Northern California. Are there pockets of a-holes? Or a-holes everyone. But I'll tell you one thing. When you get people together, normally on a one-to-one basis, Americans are good people. Americans look out for one another. I think the best thing I ever saw was in Men of Black, the original, when Will Smith's character is trying to ask him, talking about why you stay hidden. People are smart; they'll understand. He goes, "Yeah, a person is smart and understand. People are paranoid and angry. That's why we hide it, and that's what we're doing." Kim, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Literally pissing my pants after today.
I'm
being honest. That is when I was telling the story. I did a video earlier. I was telling the story that during the first Trump campaign, people who were warning about Trump were laughed off, right? And one reporter took the biggest amount of shit because they were making fun of her about Trump's, because he's just, Trump. Said, yeah, you'll be laughing once he suspends writ of habeas corpus. And they laughed at her. Here we are.
Right.
Here we are. And I'm just fucking, he didn't even say toward immigrants. He said writ of habeas corpus, period. And I'm just like, I don't give a fuck about everything that Trump has said recently. His stupid things about Mattel, the tariffs. This is not good.
No, it's not.
And I don't know what to say to it for all of us who have spoken out. What's that mean at this point?
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult. I was actually out on errands most of the day, but I got to talk to a couple of veterans in a waiting room, and I asked them a very simple question. You know, how do they feel about changing the name of Veterans Day? And here I was talking to a Vietnam vet, and really, it's amazing the responses you get. I mean, they were both furious with the whole situation, and we're talking about all of the things that are being taken away from us, like what you said, due process and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And they see that one act of taking away the name of Veterans Day as putting all veterans other than those who fought in those two wars aside and not even considering them anymore. So you're talking Korea War, Vietnam War, all the Gulf Wars, anything like that. They all feel disrespected now because it's
Right.
not Veterans Day anymore. And, that's just one of the things, taking away due process, stepping on the Constitution. They were both worried about how things would split within the military if it came down to needing, him putting military action out there with deploying and empowering soldiers on our own soil. And, would the whole part of the military be split down the middle, or what percentage would go with what they're told, and which percentage would go with what they know is right. And
And yeah, that's a scary thought. Hey, JD, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good. How are you guys?
Doing fine. I see you were in there slapping people. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Um, I was kind of ignoring them. I mean, because there's really, I want to see MAGA defend this. Because I said this in my opening rant, is that I don't care about your politics anymore. I don't care about your culture shit. I don't care about that. Defend you losing your rights.
Yeah.
Defend it. I want you to defend it because it has nothing to do with woke, has nothing to do with politics. This is law and our basic human rights. Defend it. I want to see you defend it.
This is the equivalent of somebody shooting themselves in the foot and smiling and saying, "Oh, wasn't that wonderful? This is going to really help me. I'm going to be able to run faster now." It's just
I mean, and I find it, and I'm not a person to believe in coincidence, but isn't it ironic that the day that they arrest the
mayor of Newark.
Miller,
yeah,
New York, Stephen Miller already comes up with, we're thinking about ending the writ of habeas corpus in the United States. How ironic. That's a warning to all Democratic congressmen. That was a warning. They pushed congressmen. They abused congressmen.
Oh,
That was bad.
yeah.
well, it
And I
wasn't.
don't. I mean,
Was
go
it
ahead,
state?
Kim. I'm sorry.
I saw that the mayor was arrested, but was it Congress, state Congress, or Congress, federal Congress, or
No, there were two federal congressmen with him for the area, and they were talking about ICE, and they arrested him in front of them. And where is that from? What's the question, Nick P? I don't understand the Nick P. No, they went to move to arrest him, and the congressman said, "Don't do it," and they started to push the congressman out of the way.
Oh
They
wow.
literally abused him. It was not good. They surrounded him, and one of them went for a weapon at one point.
Okay.
Ooh.
And
These ICE agents. It's my contention that they are not actually ICE agents. They're
no, oh
paramilitary.
hell no,
Ed is right on that.
no, and next week, yeah, go ahead and make the request. Okay, make the request, and I'll bring you up. Yeah, well, you know that ICE has been making deals with local law enforcement's involved. I saw that in Worcester. We saw that in Tennessee,
Hmm.
and they're all looking the same. Understand? I remember during there was an FBI report that something like 60%, maybe I'm wrong, a high percentage of law enforcement have been infiltrated by white supremacist groups, and I think it's showing right now. We can see it.
Mm.
That's the scary thing. No, there have been reports that ICE has deputized local citizens. That's why they don't have uniforms and they're wearing masks. Wear mask.
Yeah,
That's cowardly.
they've been doing
All
that for a
right.
while.
All right. Mosey, how you doing, brother?
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I mean, today is about our rights. Period.
Rights?
Rights.
Yeah,
The ones that we
rights,
still have.
civil rights.
I want. Yeah, I'm hoping.
Yeah, they're going bye bye. By the way,
There's no reason. It's insane. I mean, I would disagree with you on your politics shit, but the law should stand. I don't get it.
we don't have no law. It's mega law now. It's
But now
yeah.
that comes to the point, what do we do?
Well, we got a
Where's
pimp
our options?
for a pimp and a con artist for president. He should have never been on the ballot. How in the hell was he on the ballot after J6? After Liz
Right.
Cheney laid it out, said that he was 110% responsible. It's like Charles Manson sat home while he sent his studs in there to Sharon Tate and everybody. Trump did the same thing. I mean, how is he on the ballot? How is this guy? How is he a president right now? This
Yeah. Well,
this this
we
creep.
could. Yeah, we could. You know, we could talk
We
about
have a
that. That's
broken two-party system. It's completely and shattered. It's just the Democrats are so weak and pathetic. Joe Biden and Merrick Garland should have arrested Trump
oh,
along
I know
with his
that.
conspirators, the Fox News and all of them. They should have froze all their assets, freeze all their bank transactions, and you know what? And put them and then convicted them for trying to overthrow the government for and espionage, all of them. And you
I
know
know.
what? Nothing was done.
Nope.
Nothing.
I know.
Yep.
And
Because
so
the
here we
problem
go.
in yeah, if we want to review, the problem was with that is that they
Tell me,
looked at
because
it
I
as
want
a
to know. I've been
political
studying
issue.
government. I've studied government
It is.
45 years, and I don't know how this son of a bitch was on the ballot.
Oh, I know. They looked at it as a political issue, not a law issue. That was the problem with Merrick Garland and unfortunately Joe Biden in the beginning, because I think he was trying to keep everything together, but he found out in the end that was a mistake.
Well,
It's
And you let that.
weak. The Democrats are weak and they're pathetic. And you know what?
So what?
The
That's our only
Republicans,
option left.
they all ran for cover. Even the syndicated cable networks ran for cover. They thought they were going to do something, and they didn't do nothing. If he would have arrested Trump right off the get, everybody would have understood, because there was 5 people that were in that tape. One guy lost his eye. Metro Police and Capitol
I know.
Police officers were permanently injured. I mean, it's fucking bullshit in my book. I mean, that this
I know.
guy president now they're going to suffer.
Yes.
So you know what I say? Good, suffer. Fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah.
The
But
stock
the
market's
problem
down
is
today. Good. I want it to crash and burn. I want this country to crash and burn. And you know
Well,
what?
I kind of don't. I kind
Well,
of don't want that because I
because it's a
live
good
here.
thing. After the ashes, I'm going to wallow in the ashes. But after that, maybe we would remodel,
we can.
re-overhaul this pathetic bullshit political platform we got. That
Well,
works for
here's
the
my.
big, rich, and wealthy. Don't work for us. So what the
What?
fuck is the difference? We're not going to get nothing
Go
out of
ahead,
it anyway.
Here's
JD. Go
my.
ahead.
Here's what I have to say about that is, I think you're right in that it has to come to a crashing end at some point.
Yeah.
But what that will do is it will be undeniable to everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to suffer too,
To
but I can eat
absolutely
Roman
every,
numerals.
even all those MAGA fucks that are still out there kissing Trump's ass, they will never be able to deny that he was the worst decision they ever
Yeah.
made.
Yeah, that's true. And who gives a
And
shit? I don't
and
give a
from
shit
there
what they
and
think.
from there
I
it can
give a
only get
shit.
better.
They're a
We have
bunch
we
of
have
You see,
dumb.
let
You
me
gotta,
This
let me
country
let
is
me
dumb.
clarify.
you
Yeah,
gotta take a
let
look at
me
things. Hang on, Will. Let me.
go ahead.
Well, you know what? China's going to go way ahead of us
Well, the
because
thing
of
of it
Trump.
is, though, you two seem like you're pretty healthy. Me, as a person that I am, I will never survive this country collapsing. My health will not let me survive. If I don't have medications, I die.
You'll
So
have
no, I don't want
medication.
it to go that far.
No, she won't. Look, let me tell you how this is. The problem we have right now is that MAGA is going to that those people they're going to regret their vote. I get it, but we're
They ain't going to
watching
admit it.
people. Let me finish my point, bro. Let me finish my point first. Okay, they don't understand. I was talking to Mike last night, in the podcast. The problem is with government for all these guys. They've been brainwashed for decades, thinking that government is always is in your way, not helping you.
hmm
Now they're watching it fall apart and not help them. I thought Jasmine Crockett did a great point when she was in that hearing that's about trans people, which you shouldn't, to lay out what Medicaid would cost in each one of those persons' districts if they cut it and children would go without medical coverage.
That was
Because
brilliant. Yeah.
there's brilliant. And the point, and then also going after Marjorie Taylor Greene for insider
Yeah.
trading. God, I love that. But the
We
point being
need
is, yes,
we
sir.
need more people like her, like
We do.
AOC.
Yeah, that's the thing.
People
And
that
so,
stand up and speak out. You know.
yeah, and she did it. And the point is, like right now, is that we're we're told we're in a place that we can discuss who should have done what, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Honestly, coulda, shoulda,
Yeah.
woulda. But coulda, shoulda, woulda means shit right now. As I've said in every Milano Mussolini videos, we are stuck with this shit sandwich. We all have to take a bite. Now we got to figure out how to unfuck it. And I saw one creator when I was talking about the writ of habeas corpus being removed, saying that we can't do anything about it. Well, there's nothing you can do. Well, you can't do anything by the law. But let me make this clear: if it gets to the point, we're going to have to do something unconstitutional to save the Constitution
Yeah.
and the Republic,
Yeah.
whether we
I
like it
just-
or not. Hey, Nick, you've been asking to come in. It's Nitchkipi? I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing that.
Nick is fine.
Go ahead, sir. Hi, Nick. How you doing, brother? You said you wanted to say something. I didn't mean to cut you out before.
No. I don't mean to just insert anything because I think honestly the conversation has moved past what I wanted to talk about before, so it's okay.
No, go ahead.
Uh,
Bring it back. We always like come back.
well, and now I'm
Circling's
trying to
good.
remember what it was that you were talking about. It was your post. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Now I feel like an idiot.
No, don't.
Nick, I do that all the time. We
Hey,
get
if
into
if if you're
conversations and
if
we
you're
go
in a
right
room
past what I
no,
want
but
to
you
comment on.
you
Yeah.
said something really cool, and I think it was just about. Well, I mean, I guess what we're talking about. I don't know. Just the constitutional rights that we all have, and basically what is at stake right now, and potentially losing losing those rights, and habeas corpus is a great example of that. So yeah, shoot, I don't know if I have anything else to say.
it's
No,
gonna
it's. Go
it's
ahead, Chase.
interesting because like why does this caveat even exist? Like it says in times of war or invasion you can do away with habeas corpus. Why are we even giving the executive branch the option to enact that without Congress?
He's
I mean,
bypassing
They
Congress.
shouldn't be able to. I thought the Congress would have to declare war.
Well,
Correct.
exactly. The Congress has to declare war, but to take away habeas corpus, the Congress should have to approve that
The
too.
House
Not the,
Republicans, which is now MAGA, the Republicans are going out of the Republican Party. My congressman joined the MAGA extremists. They're not even defying him. He's running the country on executive orders.
I know.
He will not legislate. Trump doesn't legislate anyway. And you know
Oh
what?
no.
We're going to end up with with Iran. I guarantee you that. And the thing is with him, he's already purged the FBI. He's already purged the national security offices, the watchdogs that watch all the cabinets. he fired them all. They're all fired the first time in 80 something years. He got rid of the voice of America. You know, you heard of the, the, the Iron Curtain and all that. That
Yeah.
they were the voice of the Iron Curtain, uh, Eastern Europe, and
Yep.
he fired him. Why? Why would he fire the voice of America?
It's all, yeah, it's not him. We all got to remember this, and I did this in a video earlier. And I think I took some of this from Jesse Dollemore because he made a good point. And I'm going to ride on this. Donald Trump is not president of the United States. He's not running this country. The
Stephen
Heritage
Miller is.
Foundation is running this country. The Heritage Foundation is behind everything. Trump is just sitting there they give him pretty things to sign. They make him feel good. They give him his Big Mac and they put him to bed. And then they rise him up. They clean him up and let him do his stuff. They know he's nonsense, but he's the nonsense they need. Well, they can go behind and rule us. I mean, literally, if you want to see how that works, look at that documentary they have. What do they call it? Yeah, Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
That's how that works,
The
guys.
documentary.
Well, it sure as hell looking like a documentary,
I
isn't
know,
that?
but Binder,
if you
exactly.
want,
What you're saying right
if you
now
really want to, if you
is
see a
so
documentary, you can look at Andor. And if you're a
Yeah.
Star Wars fan,
Andor?
those
Yeah,
last
I-
two episodes, God
I-
Almighty.
I need to watch it. But
What's your
Binder,
name?
Binder, sorry, but what you're saying about Trump just being kind of like a figurehead is 100% true. Everyone is glomming onto him like he's this some sort of like messiah who is going to lead the United States in this direction. You know, at least like that's the conservative view, but like it is not him. You know, there are all these people behind him who are directing these decisions. I think, and the decisions that we see, like these crazy headlines that we see in terms of changing the Gulf of America. Yes, that is Trump. I think that's 100% Trump. But I think the general direction in terms of policy changes and the major, cutting of federal funding to these major agencies and programs that we've depended on as a nation, that is not
Yeah.
Trump. You know, that is a part
No.
of this
You know what? That makes sense to me now.
yeah,
Host,
like
do
there's
you- Host, do you study
there are
government?
two layers to this, I think, and maybe more than two. But I think there's this sensational headlines that we see, and then there's the underlying headlines that we don't see that are actually more insidious and that are actually undercutting the things that are really important while we're distracted from. So it's crazy because I think Trump serves this really great role in a part of this agenda, and that he's able to provide this distraction for a lot of people while they're actually making these horrible decisions and doing things that are actually impacting millions of Americans.
I'm kind of stuck
You were,
in this. On one hand, yeah, they're evil and scary, all this stuff. But on the other hand, they're so fucking stupid. It's just,
well,
Yeah.
incompetent, yes.
yeah. I mean, none of them know what the hell they're doing. I mean, Stephen Miller is the only one with a brain in that whole White House.
Scary,
We
isn't
have a
it?
dumb country, really a dumb country.
Well, if you
Most
look
of
at
the people in this country don't know anything about politics. It's very seldom you find somebody who knows how the, I mean, all the Trumpers I know, they can't even name their congressman, not alone Appropriation Board, Cap and Trade, Citizens United, House Ways and Means, all the committees that's in that, writing of tax codes, and they don't know shit. All they know is what Fox, the syndicated cable network, tells them. But host, I want to ask you something. You seem like you're pretty. I studied
Will,
government
it's
for 40
Will.
years.
Mostly.
Are
Call me
you
Will.
sort of a pundit? You know how it works?
I'm weird, and I'll say it this way: I've always studied history. History fascinated me all as a kid. Always, I'm a big history, and then my government experience in high school when they taught civics, or what we call government in California.
Yeah.
My government teacher was His name was Michael Dutton. He had just, this was 1977, and he had come home from the Vietnam War to teach history. Trust me, his view on history was totally different. So I learned stuff that was real. He spent an entire freaking class time talking about him being a soldier on a transport company in Vietnam. And if that didn't scare the piss out all us 17, 8-year-olds, then you didn't listen. That man was real. So, on that point, I always questioned and always wanted to see how things work because it was better for me. And also, as a person of color, you got to know how the government works or it will fuck you.
Yeah.
And you have to learn that.
We mirror Rome a lot. But I studied Roman history. I got interested in history when I was in 5th grade. I had a teacher named Mr. Hitchner. And Mr. Hitchner, he got into history, and I just would kind of live it in my mind as he talked about it. And about the ships coming up through the Delaware Bay. But you know what? He used to read that Popular Science magazine. And you know what he said when I was in 5th grade? I'm talking about, this is like 1960, 61, right? 61, 62, whatever it was. But anyway, he would say that an ice cream cone would be, because when you are grown up, when you're like in your 40s, the TV screens are going to be flat and the works are going to be small and tiny. You wouldn't have all these tubes and stuff. And he would talk about an ice cream cone would be $5, which if you went to the marble slab is about $5. But, for an ice cream cone. But he would talk about stuff like that. And he was totally amazing. And the TV screens are flat. I'm looking at it right now on my screen.
I would be interested to see if there's like a correlation between, people having actual good history teachers and maybe understanding a little bit more about the United States and leading to their beliefs and understanding of what constitutes the United States. I guess I don't know. So
part of it too is
experience where I had a great history teacher.
Right.
The Roman Empire, they were about 1,000 years ahead of everybody else. And they had ball bearings back in about 150 AD. Because Caligula's boat that they found in the dried up lake, when it dried up in 1939 or in the 30s, they had a statue that it would spin on the front of that boat, and it was it had ball bearings on the bottom of it, and they couldn't believe it. That they had ball bearings 2,000 years ago. Yeah. But my favorite emperor is Hadrian, because Hadrian toured the whole empire, and they wanted to they built Hadrian's Wall. Do you know anything about the Roman Empire, Host?
Hadrian's Wall, that's in Britain, England. Right?
Yeah, Britain.
England, okay.
Because they had these crazy son of bitches that lived in Scotland, modern day Scotland, called Celts.
Yeah, the Celts.
Yeah.
Hey, Kim, you were going to say something? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just, while we're sitting here doing all this talking, I looked up, because they were saying in some of the articles that I read that habeas corpus has been suspended 4 times. And it has. It was suspended during the Civil War, during Reconstruction, in the 1905 insurrection of the Philippines, and after the attack on Pearl Harbor. So there's precedent for it. Yeah. That's what he's looking at. He's looking at this and saying, we as a country have suspended it 4 times.
I foresee them maybe possibly trying this. I see this going one of 2 ways. They will probably try it, and the courts will strike it down. It'll go all the way up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will strike it down. Or this is all just bullshit to freak people out.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing that bothers...
I think the latter is probably the more likely option, because they're running out of distractions right now.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing that concerns me is that that announcement was in conjunction with the arrest of the Newark mayor. And the thing about it is, if let's say there is a judge that says you can't do it, and they decide to arrest the judge, what are you going to do? Who's going to stop them?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Who's going to stop him? And it brings me back to one thing. I think one or two things. If he gets to that point, and I hope that they don't want to touch that, JD. I really don't. I hope that they're not that far gone, but I don't know.
I don't
I really don't.
I don't think they're ready to go there yet.
Do any of you have any friends that are supportive of MAGA and Trump?
Oh
Um,
yeah, big time. A
and I
lot.
mean, have you all talked to them on their thoughts of this possibility? Because I have, and I talked to my friend, and he was like, basically saying that he considers that we're in a soft war. And
Oh God.
I don't follow the conservative news media enough to understand where that idea is coming from, but he's getting it from somewhere. And so they do consider themselves to be in a war of sorts.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
My
so, I mean, they're gonna use that as like a justification for,
yeah.
you know,
I mean, I called my mom this afternoon, and I live down here near the Southern White House, and evidently there's a boat came in off the shore with approximately 25 migrants on it, and it capsized, and they all swam to shore. And she's all upset because they only caught 10 out of the 25, and she's afraid that they're going to come in and cause trouble. They've all got to be bad people. And so yeah, they see us as that poor boat of men with nothing but the clothes on their back, or they might have been women and children. I don't know. They were out to get us, and they were here to harm us all.
So what happened? I'm curious. What happens to that paranoia in the long run? Like once Trump is gone, MAGA is disgraced. They've almost burned the whole country to the ground. We have, we're moving onward and upward because this isn't going to last forever.
We hope.
What happens? Well, no, they're not smart enough to make it
I mean,
last forever.
JD, I think we've seen what happens. I think we see that the people who believe it sincerely go into the woodwork, and they harbor those feelings and that resentment until they get to a point where they're able to exact their revenge on everyone else.
Oh yeah.
And it's a cyclic process. Like
Yeah. When Trump was coming up, I remember an NPR show. Oh, Terry, she used to do the afternoon show. I forgot her name, and it always slips on my mind. But she was talking to someone who was an expert on white supremacist groups. And he said that at one point they had gone underground because they were so hated, and to pop up would cost you a lot. What Trump did was give them an excuse to come up and use the MAGA movement blatantly to show their racism as being patriotic. And as we've seen in the last 10 years, it has become almost mainstream.
But how does
They've
that how do those beliefs of those few people, those groups who are underground? This is just a question. Like, how does that infect like a major populace? Like, how does that infect like a major group of people? Like that's the thing that I still don't understand. But yeah,
pretty much what happens is there are people who have always had that within their families, within their lifestyle, within how they were raised, and it's never gone away. It's not something that has just come about again. It's something that has always been there, and there are groups that keep just perpetuating it, and that look down on others, and it's all others. It's all people of color. It's women. It's non-Christians. It's disabled. Anybody who they deem as not perfect and a part of their group, they've looked down on. And some of them have kept it like underneath where they don't speak it because they were trying to be politically correct, which they saw as a bad thing. but they've been allowed to come out and express it now. But these people have always been there.
And so I'm thinking about how do we correct this? I mean,
Okay,
I don't.
I can answer that. Okay, first off, when Trump is gone, the Republicans will try to come back and say, "Well, yeah, um, I didn't have no part of him. I knew he was messed up," and blah blah. Yeah, they try to like regain
They
themselves.
already
But
did
what I'm
that. They
hoping
already did
is,
that.
I'm hoping that we would get united in this country and start electing people that would run all them lobbies and all them big wealthy corporations and their lobbies and their interest the hell out of our government. We could take back the government. We will work for the people, and for the government, for the people, by the government, run and not for the big wealthy corporations. We could start passing laws and get things more common sense. We could start overhauling the government, get rid of the bad, have a type of application for the run for any seat, city, county, uh, state legislative, and especially federal government, and have some type of background check. You're running for a seat, you need your background check, your tax returns, and bank transactions, and you should know something about at least 2 years of political science, so you know what the hell you're doing. So we don't have the Mac Gates and Marjorie Green Puke and them people, and we can get better, well-known people that will work for us, like retired post office workers, retired military, farmers, just everyday people do the right thing, and make government boring. When it's boring, it's working.
Yeah, that's the thing. They got away from the term of public servant.
Yeah.
They don't do it. They don't believe in public service. And you bring up Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I laugh because she's about to fall on her own petard.
Yeah.
As you all know, here in Georgia, John Ossoff is up for re-election coming up. Now, Brian Kemp is the governor of Georgia, and he was kind of expected to run for Senate. Most Georgia governors end up doing that. But he doesn't want to run for Senate, partly because then he had to defend Trump, and he's a piece of work. I always remember this. He got elected the first time as governor because he kept his seat as Secretary of State, and about a month before the election purged about 180,000 people off the rolls, and he won the election. If he hadn't, Stacey Abrams would have been governor of Georgia. She proved it in court, but it was too late. At that point, he was established. But his bona fides include him standing up against Trump on the 2020 election, telling him we ain't going to find the 11,000 votes, and signing off on the certification. So
Rattlisberger, right? State legislature.
Yeah, well, him and Rattlisberger, he was part of it too because he refused to go along with it because he pressured Kemp also. But the point being is, he won't run for Senate, and he is up and he is done in his terms as governor because he's term limited. Now, Greene, in her impediment ego beyond belief, understand she has never passed a piece of motherfucking legislation ever. She never works for anyone in that district. She's just loud, and if you ever been in that area around Rome, Georgia, you get it. Just think banjos, okay? And if you don't know that reference, go look at the movie Deliverance, y'all. But she is convinced she could win the governorship or the Senate, whatever she decides to do.
That's a joke.
There's no way she can win a fucking statewide election. There's no way. First of all, for governor, because the Republicans here, remember, these are Southern Republicans. They tolerate her. Yeah. She is not good for higher society, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. They don't want anything to do with her. They don't want her in the state house. But if she wants to take off John Ossoff, take him on, good luck, honey. That man makes people cry. He is a brilliant tactician and a brilliant debater. But she would get hammered. I'm hoping she does it because what it'll do is she'll lose that statewide election. She has to give up her seat, and that seat's going to be ripe, and Democrats will pour money in that seat this time. Because the first time she got elected unopposed.
Yeah.
That ain't going to happen this time.
I
And
think
I have.
Wasn't that seat
I'm sorry, go
empty?
ahead, JD.
She just found out that there was a seat there that could be that
Mm-hmm.
district.
Right.
It was empty.
All right. So I've got. Yeah, exactly. She ran unopposed. So I see Maine Coon, Maddie. Is that right?
Yeah, you can call me Maddie.
Yeah, Maddie. I love the name. Big cats. Very big cats.
They are very big cats, and I have two of them, and Miss Maddie is topping the scales at 24 pounds,
Mm.
6
Big
pounds
cat.
higher than what she is supposed to. But yeah. No, but I'm in here for the political debate. And you were saying about Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I have to disagree with you because she is MAGA. And she has a huge following. Whether we agree with that or not, she does. Yeah, I mean,
She has a.
her rhetoric is ridiculous. If you
Right.
actually take it point by point, it's ridiculous, and there's no substance to it whatsoever, except bigotry, hatred, and just. I'm trying to find the TikTok friendly words.
Lunatic.
Fuck it.
obscenities.
Say it.
She's just fucking nuts, okay?
There you
She's
go.
been nuts.
Bingo. Thank you.
She has been
But
Looney Tunes for adults for years. Like the Looney Tunes cartoons for adults for years. And we have just laughed at her and went, ha ha ha, how is she going to progress? But you know what? Somehow she has.
Yeah. That's
But
how they
I'm
used
gonna
to think
put it.
about the mustache guy back in the 20s when he was
But
at the
I'm
big
gonna.
beer halls. They used to think he was a kook.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
but
with Trump.
understand that that she is in Georgia, and I live here, and I live near Atlanta. Okay, you have to understand around here in Atlanta, it's very blue, and they don't tolerate her shit. The thing about it is that in her pocket of her district, she wins it because it's one of those districts. Okay, she has to compete in Fulton County. She has to compete in the bigger counties in Georgia, and they are blue. And she would have to answer to those people. So I see your point. She has a huge following in MAGA across the country. But here in Georgia, we don't like her.
Okay.
Even Republicans don't like her. And I'm saying this because you're right. She seems to be powerful.
Don't she have
Even
basic
Matt
education?
Gates seems to be powerful, but when you get her here in the state of Georgia's purple. Now, be
Then
honest,
how does she keep winning? Answer me that. How does she
because of her
win?
district, her district, Georgia District 14 is extremely red, extremely old school.
Aren't they
It's
dumb over
one
there?
district. Yeah, pretty much. And there's only one district, and she can't. If she gets out of that district, if she has to depend, because there's not enough people in that district to elect her. There's not enough people in the southern part of the state that's more MAGA that can elect her. She would not win because the Atlanta area will reject her. Not only Democrats, but also in Atlanta, you have no idea how society works in the South. They don't play. She is considered white trash.
I
She
know
is white trash.
she is white trash.
And
But
yeah,
didn't she pull the same thing that Boebert pulled in Colorado? Did she? And I might be wrong. I might be getting misinformation. Didn't she move districts?
No, she's been Georgia 14 forever since the first time she got arrested. She got elected. They
Uh,
don't do that.
Boebert, yeah, Lauren Boebert did move districts, but still, she's not a senator. Senate races are statewide, and so that's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And governor, she couldn't. If she runs for governor, that'd be worse. I don't think she'll get out of the primary
Over here in
in governor.
Texas, let me tell you about Texas. Everybody thinks
Oh
it's
God.
solid red. It's not. The Valley, El Paso, Corpus, Houston, and San Antonio is blue, very blue. Dallas
Austin
is
too,
kind of
right?
reddish, and it's all the urban areas where the shit. If you ever go out in urban the urban area outside of Houston, just outside, just a little bit, you'll see these shacks, and there's primarily white tees live in these shacky type shithole places. You know, like in Beeville, uh, Cleveland, and all the other little towns uh,
Uh-huh.
in between. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And they all vote red because they're all like pissed off because they ain't got shit, and their credit
Isn't
card.
that sad?
Can I jump in and say something? Because
Go
I
ahead, man.
know where I vote, um, we don't have voting machines. We still do the paper ballots, and yeah, how can I say this? I suspect that they are taking the paper ballots that they don't agree with and putting them in the trash. Because we don't have electronic ballot machines that count our ballots. We are still in the dark ages.
Where is that at?
Arkansas.
Oh,
So when I went to go and vote, I was handed a paper ballot in my parish at my local fire department that was then looked at by the person before it was put in a wooden box with a 25-cent lock on it.
why would they look at your ballot? You're supposed to put it in the box, and they don't touch it. Supposed to.
Yeah, welcome to small town Arkansas, small town Texas, small town America.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of
Wow.
people didn't vote before. I'm going to tell you something. Over in the Houston area where I'm from, I know a lot of my friends never bothered with politics. Oh, I don't vote. The hell with all that shit. With Trump, through the rallies, through the movement he developed, he got these people. He told them to go out and get registered, go out and vote. He recruited, and Fox groomed them, over 50 million people. It's totally incredible what he's done. And it was
Right.
all in these urban areas across the whole country. He got the white tees to get out there and get registered, where they never jack with politics, or they didn't care less.
Mine is the absolute opposite.
Really?
Mine is women were saying, F Trump. We don't want our rights stripped from us. I don't know of all the people I know, I don't know a single Trump supporter, but we're all in small town America and our votes didn't count. I mean, you gotta look at it. We have Sarah fucking Huckabee as our governor. And
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that cockeyed, stupid hillbillies.
okay, $72,000 for a podium? Are you kidding me? I can show you furniture that I have built that is better than her podium.
Yeah. But the
Didn't
irony
you go
of it
on
though.
trips to Europe on your dime?
Yep.
But I am telling you,
Thank you, JD. We'll talk to you later, brother. Appreciate you. So one thing I want to bring up real quick, and it's getting close to the end for all of us, for me, because I have to work in the morning. Still have to try to figure and do it. I want to bring up a couple of things that scared the hell out of us. I think it just hit me. If they pulled the right of pull habeas corpus, and you guys are in Texas and Arkansas, who are heavy, heavy anti-women's health states, wouldn't that basically give them the right to arrest women if they suspect if they've had an abortion without any due process?
Oh, I'm sure it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that a scary thought
Yes.
at this point?
Yes.
Everything's scary
Um,
now. Everything Trump's doing, he's bypassing congressional approval. He's legislating through executive orders, and they're
yeah, I
not
know.
nobody's defying them. But now the courts are trying to say, whether it be a circuit judge, even the Supreme Court, he's defying them.
What
He's
is
saying,
the word? What is the word? Is capitulation. I feel like everyone is just capitulating to these orders and to whatever he's mandating. It's actually sick.
I and him too. Yeah, especially when he
Out
cuts
of
funding.
fear.
How can he cut funding? That has to be through the House,
yeah,
isn't it? Or did
Yes.
I miss my
Did
constitutional
you all
thing?
see? Did you all see like the cutting of the funding to for NPR and PBS?
Yeah,
Hmm.
he can't do that.
He just,
You can't just cut off the money. It's
No,
in the
that's not.
budget
Yeah,
already.
but who's going to stop him?
Starting the budget. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if y'all
Congress,
heard it.
the House mega, they're not stopping them.
Yeah,
They're
I
not
don't,
defying them one bit, because if they do, they're gone.
yeah, but I don't know if you all heard, but he fired the librarian for the Library of Congress.
That was a Project 2025 move.
Yep.
Trump doesn't read. He doesn't give a fuck. That was Project 2025's attack on information.
Yep.
What do you
Period.
think, host? What do you think about this Stephen Miller? You think he's the bad guy on all this?
He's the
Project 25,
reincarnation
isn't
of. He's a reincarnation of Heinrich Himmler
he?
in my mind.
Exactly.
The only thing
Exactly.
missing from him is jackboots and a black uniform. I hear him speak, and he is the influence behind Trump because Trump is a known racist, and he feeds him, but he also feeds his ego. And
Yeah.
Stephen
Yeah.
Miller is behind a lot of what we see here. In addition, in conjunction with Tom Hoffman, which always makes me wonder why all of a sudden these secret police popped up. They've been working on this for a while,
Yeah.
and now they're moving. That the only thing is that they're still hitting soft targets,
What's the
families,
end-
people
what do you think the
alone.
end- what do you think the end game is?
The end game is going to be how all of these so-called authoritarians go, and then it goes back to. I'm talking recent. I'm not going World War I or World War II. I'm talking about Pinochet, the Argentinian government, the Philippines. They're going to do something so atrocious that everyone turns on them. It's coming. It's going to be a horrible, horrible thing that no one can excuse. It's coming. Now, think about back to the civil rights movement. No one really cared about the civil rights movement until the church bombing that killed the 4 girls.
Right.
And the FBI went down to investigate.
Right.
That was too much even for people to ignore.
Right.
And it was horrible. So now what we're going to see is something, and I think Nick understands what I'm about to say. The Star Wars Andor, they had this huge, absolute, atrocious act by the authoritarian government that started the rebellion for real. We're going to get to that. It's coming because you cannot push people. I watched the Worcestershire raids, and people in the neighborhoods were starting to get agitated. And something bad is going to happen. Where, go ahead, Kim.
I think, yeah, you're right to a point, but I also think that we've been desensitized with all of these mass shootings and stuff like that, because, that should have done something. That should have caused, common sense gun regulation laws and things like that, and we can't get them to agree on that stuff.
They don't. But one thing, you've
Right.
never seen something like that live, filmed, done. Remember, one of the things that turned people on Trump before the 2020 election is when the National Guard went after people on the Black Lives protest. People saw that violence,
Yeah.
and it kind of turned them off. Also, look at if you go back to the civil rights movement, the attacks of the southern, like in Selma,
Yeah.
the brutality of it. That when that started getting out to people, started to see it, to go, and when you see the brutality, you go, oh, what the hell
But they're
does
not.
that mean?
They're
If they
not
would
doing
show
anything. They're
that
not
on
doing
TV,
anything.
No,
the
but
mass
they showed
shootings,
it on TV when it happened at Kent State back in the 70s.
But
They
all the
showed it.
yeah,
But
but all the protests that are going on aren't getting on TV.
no, they
If
are
they're
not.
if they're keeping all that off of TV and of being seen, what's to keep them from keeping something like that?
No, I heard.
Because TV is now it's now skewed towards the Republicans. It's skewed towards MAGA. So they are not
Well, no, but
showing
it's not
reality anymore.
not even. But hang on, Marie, sorry, Maine Coon, you're 100% right, or just Maddie.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. Like it is skewed, but even the channels that weren't historically for that particular side, right, have now been bought and paid for. Like I used to have a subscription to the Washington Post for a long time, which I recently canceled because it's who is it owned by? It's owned by Jeff Bezos, and who is Jeff Bezos? What is his concern? His concern is
Making money.
making sure that his shareholders are happy, and he doesn't want to. He's going to control and limit the headlines that are available to be posted within his news organization. Like, I mean, it's all been bought and paid for, whether it's the right or the left. I think we're at this point now where we have very few channels that are actually going to be presenting real news, and that's why it's such a shame that and that's why they want to defund public media, because they see that as a threat, right? Like they think that it's this
Voice of America too.
Am I the only one who misses Dan Rather, who would sign off with "This is the news"? It was just
Well, I go Walter
brilliant.
Cronkite days. Sorry,
Mhm,
I
yeah.
have to go back to that. But see, the thing about it is that journalism is no longer about facts; it's about performance.
Yeah.
Remember, old
Exactly.
CNN, old news was just repeating the same news, just saying the news.
Yeah, come
You
out
go
with
to
A&E.
CNN.
All
Yeah,
the news
I
come
went
out
to
with
CNN.
Blue and Fox
Yeah,
was red.
But I
yeah,
do think
and I went to
Syndicated cable network, listed as
right,
entertainment bullshit.
right.
yeah, but I do think that there are some
Dummies
sources
don't know that.
that we need to use while they're still available. And I don't know what you guys
Right,
use, but I depend on a few podcasts that are
right.
news-based podcasts, not trying to be, well, I'm sure they're skewed as well, but and I guess I also depend on PBS as well, and I depend on, dude, I don't know what else. There was something else.
The thing about it, if you need news, honestly, you can still access BBC News
Yeah, I think it's
radio
better.
on the
Go
satellite.
broad.
You
Go
can
broad.
access CBC News.
Yeah.
You can access. There's a German news network that's English. French do the same, so you get a different view of the world. See, my mistake, like when India and Pakistan started the war. By the way, hi, Trump administration. India and Pakistan are at war, nuclear powers. Hi.
Yeah, I know.
Just to remind you, I went to CNN like I always went to CNN for news. You know what I saw? Fucking a business story, a business show. They didn't even cut into it for news. And I'm like going, okay, that's what
That's
you're going to
crazy.
do it.
It's
That's
crazy.
how you're going to do it, huh?
That's
Nah.
crazy.
And
I think what was it? There was a headline that it was the whistleblower from the NR well, what is that organization? The
The
NRDC?
Doge
Or,
guy?
no, but he worked at the NRDC and he was whistleblowing on the Doge people and saying
Oh, the
that
USAID
James,
guy.
uh, did he work in USAID? I don't know. I don't remember. But the fact is, like, that headline was not in any newspapers. And what he was saying is that, like, as soon as he gave those Doge people access, they were seeing connections from or passwords being used, I guess, in Russia, or there were IP addresses from Russia, trying to access the
Yes.
system. And it's just like, how the hell is that not a main headline, right?
Right.
And it's actually like mind blowing, and that's just like suppression of a story because of these people wanting to, because I guess trying to, you know,
Yeah, and I agree. I think part of it too, and I'm going to put it this way: we all know. I mean, we all know when you've seen the um, ports empty, freights down, shortages are coming, whether we like it or not. I don't like it, but
what do they?
it's
Yeah,
coming,
yep,
and it's going to start to affect people. And you're talking about the worst thing. That's going to be bad, and that's when they're going to start saying we don't want to sacrifice anymore. Now, Trump backed up a little bit on the tariffs, now saying that he wants 80% tariffs on China. Even if the Chinese started to send back commerce, it'll be about 180 days to fix the supply chain again.
yep,
Supply chain's fucked. We're
yep.
all fucked.
For
And
sure.
that's the thing. Maybe I should have put it this way. It has to get that bad,
Yeah.
economically bad, where people will turn to violence and hoard and have to do what they have to do to survive for there to be a change, for them to realize there's something has to be done, that we made a mistake.
What do
A
they say?
lot of the
They say
Trumpers,
that
a
they
lot
say
of them
that
will have second thoughts on Trump because I want it to get bad. I want it to get bad where
dude,
gas is way
Mozzie,
up, and you know, and then
why
where a lot of people turn on. The more people turn on Trump, the more of his base gets dissolved,
yeah.
the better.
Dude, I mean, I hear you, Monty. Like that, it makes sense. It's also, I don't want it to get to that point. Like
It's
No,
going
I
to
agree.
have to.
Then you're going to have
It's
to put up with the
going to
bullshit.
have to get that bad. It's
but
going to have to hurt before it gets better.
dude,
It's going to
I
get bad anyway, so you might as well just, you know what? Grab yourself a fishing rod, catch catfish, and eat Roman numerals.
yeah,
Yeah, but I think Nick's issue is that he's like me, you're a family person, and you got to look out for your family.
Yeah.
And the
no,
hardest thing
I have
for
a
all of
wife.
us to swallow,
Can I
the
talk
hardest thing
about
for all of us,
my
yeah,
situation?
the hardest
My
thing for
wife.
all of us to swallow is that it could have been better.
Yeah,
We didn't have to get here, but people got conned and now we're stuck. Or you have people on the far, far left who are still ignoring it or coming out of the woodwork now. I will never forgive you for this. Um, and now we're at a point where we may lose it all.
Amen.
And for what? And I think that's what
my
frustrates me more than anything. For what? What
my
do we
thing
get
is
out
this.
of it? Not
We
a
could have had
goddamn
this.
thing.
We could have had
So
this smart, intelligent, nice-looking woman for a president, but no,
I know.
they wanted the old, smelly, angry guy.
Yeah,
Now we got him.
the guy with incontinence, like who just has to use
There
a
was
diaper. Whatever. My issue is binder. Sorry, is it binder or is it what should I call you?
Will, just call me. I'm Will.
Oh,
Will.
okay. Well, what you were saying is like I'm a family man. Like, I mean, I don't have any kids, but like I have a wife, and
Hmm.
she's from another country. I brought her. Like we met when I was living abroad in Chile, um, and we didn't whatever. Like, I we got married while Biden was president, not thinking that any of this was going to happen, and now I'm actually really concerned of what's going to happen to her and what
what?
could happen to her, even though she has a green card and everything. It's it's I just feel like I have a lot of things that are What? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm with
Yeah,
you.
you have a stake in this game. You have a
I do
big
have a
stake in this game,
I have a big stake in
and
this game.
and the thing about it is that you did it correctly. You did everything, but the sad fact is, Nick, your wife's at risk because it doesn't matter to these guys anymore. They keep saying that the immigration thing is that well, we're going after people who haven't done it right. They're illegal or they're criminals.
Eventually,
They're not. They're just picking up people because they need numbers. And face it, every one of those ICE agents. And the sad thing about it, I see women in there. You can't hide your shirts, ladies. Sorry. You see women in there, and they're just cruel.
I mean, did you
They're
guys see the video?
cruel.
I mean, I'm sure you saw the video from today, right?
This
Yes.
this
Yeah.
is not why I jumped on this live, but I'm going to jump in here. My granddaughter, and I am not tokenizing at all. Her name, her back name is Brancaccia Ruiz. She is part Mexican. Every day, she was born here, but every day she worries about being deported because her last name is Ruiz.
Yep.
Well, they just got another family today or yesterday. They had
Yes, they tricked a few to be deported. I
they
saw.
deported the father and gave the mother interview time where she was supposed to report. So she reported with her 3 children, and they sent them all.
Yes,
And two
my
of them-
daughter-in-law was born here.
Yeah.
My granddaughter was born here, and now ICE is on their asses daily, making them prove all the time that they were born here.
Well, we have one. We have a woman who comes into some of the lives, and she has a 90-some-year-old mother that was stopped by ICE in a grocery store.
Yeah.
He was there with the son, her and the son, and the mother were there. And the woman, the 90-year-old woman, was in line and asked the son in Spanish what the date was so she could write her check out. And evidently, ICE had been following her around the whole store because she speaks Spanish and English, and she was speaking in Spanish. And they stopped her, almost tried to literally grab her, and the son and the woman who's on the lives had to step in between them and say, you're not doing that. You're not grabbing our 95-year-old mother just because she speaks Spanish.
Yeah, my daughter-in-law and my granddaughter are bilingual. Just because they are bilingual,
Yeah.
they are interrogated by ICE like
Wait,
two or three
they've
times
been
a week.
they've been interrogated.
Yes. And they
Jesus
were
Christ.
both born in the United States, but because they are bilingual and because they are brown. And I am not tokenizing in any way, shape, or form.
No,
But every day I worry that my daughter-in-law and my granddaughter are going to be deported because of the color of their skin.
Right.
That's where,
It's-
you know what?
Are
It
bilingual.
infuriates me to hear you say that. It infuriates me. I mean, this is the shit that we got to put up with this goddamn country now. With this
Yeah.
bozo.
and that's it.
It should have never been on
And
the
this is
ballot.
what. But understand, that's when you bring it up. What's for Maddie? You bring it up, and MAGA will go, "Well, that's what we voted for." No, that's not what you voted for. It's just it's. I mean, it breaks my heart because trust me, as someone my dad was Puerto Rican, it worries me to the extent that I have to explain myself to some racist asshole. Because that's all ICE is right now. They are not following the law. They called out Kristi Noem, you're not following the law and you're spending money you shouldn't. During the raid of Worcester, if you saw that video, people are screaming, you don't have a warrant. And the ICE agents reply, we don't need a warrant. Hi. They don't care. They have given them carte blanche.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is, I don't know how we stop them short of pitchforks and torches. I'm getting to that point at this right now with all of us.
Well,
They're going to run across the wrong people soon, and it's going to get really, really ugly.
Same with this muskrat
Finally.
Doge. Let's just go in and fire people. They didn't investigate.
No.
It takes months to investigate who's doing what and blah. Yeah, there might be a little this, that, and another. I work for a dealership, and there was some crap going on. But you know what? There's other people that will let the boss know if somebody's doing something. And it's the same
Right.
thing in our government. They just go in and they're just boom, boom, whacking people. It's bullshit. It's all it is fucking bullshit.
You know what?
Yeah, and-
Infuriates me.
The only time that YT privilege comes into play, because I am an old YT woman and I am using it to protect my granddaughter
Yep.
born here.
You're using your Karen powers for good, Maddie.
And my grandparent powers for good. And, I know a lot of people say, YT privilege is all bad. But you know what? I have had to use it to keep my daughter-in-law and my granddaughter in this country because they
Yep.
were both born here.
Yep. And that's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to swallow. That people, it's so.
Yeah, and to be
It's hard
honest,
to swallow because we've never had to deal with that. Trust me, even in the bad old days of the 70s and 80s, they usually didn't hassle you in those days, unless you got stopped by the police, and that was a different cat. Go ahead.
Nancy,
You know what's hard?
Sorry, Maddie. Like I'm really banking on my YT privilege as well, and hoping that if something happens, I'm able to stop it from happening because of that. But what is the
What's the
Well,
alternative?
the next step is this: if they find out you're bad mouthing Trump, it's just a matter of time when
That is
they're
the
going to
next
get
step.
Jimmy
I'm going to
Kimmel.
lose my YT privilege if they find out I'm bad mouthing Trump to
yes?
save my granddaughter and my daughter-in-law.
Yeah, they could
And-
call
and
you
that's
an
why-
accomplice.
That's why, Mozzie,
Accomplice.
we should be very careful. And look, I understand we're all on this app right now. We're all talking about things, but like everything we're saying is being recorded. But
Yes, I know.
I don't know that that they.
I don't really
would be
give a
able to-
shit.
I know. But like,
I'm with you, Mozzie. I don't give a shit. Where are they going to deport me to?
Well, I'm going to put the old. I think it was Patrick Henry that said, "Either we all hang together or we hang separately."
Yeah,
I think you said that.
yeah.
If I'm correct. And so I think we're in there. We are. And it. My wife sent me an email. What Roger Stone said about the senator of Arizona, Mark, the astronaut. I just drew a blank on his name. That he hopes he gets arrested. And my wife gets disturbed sometimes when I do this because she's worried. Now let me be front. I married a German woman, so my kids are, have dark color, but she's not down with this at all. But she worries because she knows,
Yeah.
and but I can't not do it because I can't do it because mentally I wake up in the morning and it's just a lot to take in because this is not the country. This is not the country I grew up with. This is not the country that I support. Now my country was moving forward and with issues. Now it's gone way backwards
Yeah,
to the points we haven't seen before the Second World War. Because understand, the United States before the Second World War had fascist tendencies.
yeah.
Look up rally, rally in New York, and you will see one in Madison Square Garden. Remember, what time KKK was not only a group, it was a political force in the United States.
One of the guys' name
And
was
it's-
Coons. Coons,
Yeah,
right?
Coons.
Now I
And
got to
it
tell
changed.
you, the mustache guy and Mussolini and Federico of Spain, when they lost their democracy, it came with cheers, and then it ended up in disaster. You know,
Yes.
Do you know
when they
that
And
Mark
lost their
Twain?
democracy, it's just like we're losing our democracy, and it came with cheers with the mega bunch.
Do you know
I'm
that
sorry.
Mark Twain said, to be a patriot is to support your country 100%, but to question your government.
Yep. And
I
that's
think
what our
Reagan said
forefathers
that.
wanted. That. And the thing about it is, one thing you guys have to look up if you get a chance. Look up the works of a philosopher named Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was a Lutheran pastor and a teacher in Germany before he came to power, and how he fought against them. And he has an opinion. He has works about how that happened, about stupidity versus evil. I'm not going to go into it. I did do the video. It's complicated, but look it up. There's some videos on YouTube because that'll explain a lot of stuff we're dealing with right now. How intelligent people get sucked into this.
And
It's very good to watch.
do you realize that Germany is the only country that has learned from their past mistakes? Everyone else, even the United States, now we are erasing our history so that we will no longer learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
Germany is the only country that celebrates
Well,
their mistakes. They say, not really celebrates, but they acknowledge
they
and
acknowledge
say,
it.
we will never make these mistakes again.
Well, remember their far right party was trending, and then they lost an election, and the government determined them to be an extremist party and banned them from elections.
Yes.
The Germans did that, so they understand. And it took a while for the Germans to get there. There's an old movie in the '70s, a German movie I never forgot called The Dirty Girl, and it's called that because there was a young girl in a German village who started to do the history of the German village, and she started to uncover that the villagers did a lot of bad things during the war, a lot of bad things, and she was trying to do a piece on it, but the town turned on her. And they called her a dirty girl because why are you bringing up this dirt? We want to forget about it. We don't want people to know. And that's what we're kind of dealing with these idiots, Project 2025. Look, it's too late. You did what you did. It's a history you got to learn. But these people have. The point is that in order to remove MAGA from the situation, you have to get rid of the situation. You have to defeat the stupidity to get it. It is a tough, tough situation for all of us because we all feel what's going on, and we wouldn't be here, and we want it better. We want to talk about boring governors thing, as Mozzie says here. I don't want to talk about this shit. I don't want to talk about my constitutional rights. Those are givens. But here we are. And I think we're going to get to the point where they're going to do something that's going to tick something off. What's the worst thing to happen? Civil war. That could happen too. Some states aren't playing with it. I mean, J.B. Pritzker says if you show up in Illinois, I'm going to use the National Guard on you. That's civil war. And that's a scary thought too. So I mean, we all come together, I think, to try to figure out what do we do. And I think the hardest thing right now is to try to keep our voices up, even at the threat of ending up in their version of a gulag. That's
Can I just
scary.
talk about I remember what brought me to this live from the onset. It was something that you posted. It was kind of about like the liberties that were given through sacrifice or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is that what you said?
Yes. Yeah. No. It's about the veterans and the Veterans Days.
Yeah.
The liberties that to do what you did is to is to not to honor the sacrifices those men did in the ground. I don't care about the source of the war. We can talk about Vietnam. We can talk about the Afghan war. We can talk about Iran.
Yeah.
But each
But
each
I think it's applicable to another sort of war, and another type of liberty that we've been granted because of the sacrifice that people have made. And I think it's something that people forget about, which is the rights of the workers, right? The rights
right.
of the working class people. And the reason why we have the liberties that we have now is because people suffered for generations, not being able to get the rights that they should have had, and we as a country, because of that suffering, I think we put policies in place to protect those people, and unfortunately, I think with this administration as well, that is being eroded. So I think, sorry, I just think I really like what you said, and I understand how
I
it's
appreciate it.
about. I really understand how it's about
And
two things.
and
Yeah, I
also
understand
remember this,
about
guys, and I'm going to bring this up
more than that.
because as Dodger fan 63 agreed to me, we're 15 minutes late for the Dodgers playing Arizona, and I got to listen to that game. No offense, you guys. But I'm going to bring this up. We're talking about how do we remember stuff, and what if it goes away? If you haven't read the book Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, please read the book.
Have.
Because okay, so the point of the book in the end is that even though you can destroy the physical ideas that are books, you couldn't kill the idea. Because remember, those ideas live in you all the time. You can't get away with it. See, that's the thing that that Stephen Miller's and all that, they want to indoctrinate the children not to believe in the true ideas of America. The problem is my generation, my kids, other people have lived in it and they will not accept it. The one thing is that it looks bad right now because they kind of had the upper hand because they kind of got everyone pushed back. But it's going to happen. The one thing that Americans have never fucking done from our inception is capitulate. Remember this. And the founding fathers told the greatest military and colonial power in the world to go fuck themselves and fought them to a standstill to create this country, and then survived another invasion 60 years later and still stood tall. We are not perfect, but we do not capitulate. And I understand one thing we're not going to capitulate is to a fucking reality star that has bad makeup. He can go fuck himself. That ain't happening.
Fuck yeah.
And that's the thing. I'm not going to get. Again, is it a risk? Yes. Is it scare me? Yes. But you know what? It's better than being MAGA or being not thinking or being
Nice.
capitulation for them.
Sorry, I know you're trying to. I'm sorry. Do you have to
Go
go?
ahead.
The
No,
only
go ahead, Nick. You were
reason,
saying.
No, I just had a question. I guess, like, in my mind, like, whenever I've seen in history, like, when societies have turned to these dictatorships or authoritarian, models, like, I've always wondered, like, how did the populace allow that to happen? And, like, now that we're in it, like, and I'm a part of it, like, I kind of understand because I'm, I'm scared of what I can lose, right? If I were to
Mm-hmm.
speak out, if I were to, do anything to try to fight them. And like, it's just, I don't know if this is a question, but it's more just, I guess, maybe a statement. It's just, I kind of understand how that happened. And I always kind of blamed the people in the past, like the populace and the groups of people who allowed those authoritative states to come to power to get to that point. Like, I was always angry with them. I was always like, why would you not speak out? Why would you not say something in the moment? And like, I think we're having this conversation, which is great, but at the same time, it's like, how do you actually do something about it and stop it from happening
But
without
if you study how
losing.
Mussolini got to power and the mustache guy got to power. They didn't get there like overnight. Like the
Well, but
mustache
that's
guy,
like
matter of fact, they arrested him when he
I
tried
know,
to
I know,
coup the government.
I know, but
But the way he was, if you study how he got in there, I'm talking about Germany in the 20s, the beer hall, the Prussian and all that, how he got into power is extraordinary. It's a little bit of luck, a little bit of that, but he stayed focused all the time,
that's what I see. That's what I see here.
and
I
he
see
got he
the
won over people because he blamed. You got to blame. You got to have a bad guy, and he blamed the you know who, right? I don't know if you can say it, but the Jays, and they kept on. Back then, there was no media, there was newspapers, but he went around to every city all over preaching his, what was happening, and he got more popular and popular and
Have
popular.
you guys seen that clip of the Twilight episode
And there's another thing he did.
with Hitler
You know what else he did? He got rid of all the unions, anything, the religion, the newspapers. He controlled all the media, just like everybody watches Fox. A lot of people watch that syndicated cable network. It's entertainment bullshit. They think it's real. They think it's real.
Can
I
I
know
tell you
my
something
favorite
that's
movie is
going on right now that no one is paying attention to? Is that women will no longer have, and Oliver's mom, you're the only other female on this panel. If our birth certificate, not our license, but our birth certificate does not match our voter registration, we are no longer allowed to vote.
Yep. Yeah. And I've tried to, I've talked about how, it doesn't just affect women, but it also affects people in small town rural areas that can't maybe get to their, get to the office to get their original birth certificate, so they don't have anything to prove who they are. Not everybody can get to the records office. And
That's right. So MAGA has just eliminated 60% of the fucking vote.
Yep.
Well, it hasn't gone through the Senate yet, and it hasn't landed on Trump's desk because it's part of the big beautiful bill. So, Manny, there's still hope in the Senate that it's not going to get through because that's not part of a budget reconciliation. It has to pass the Senate, and I don't think the senators are going to let it go.
Really?
Even Chuck Schumer would know better. No, it hasn't gone through.
Have you seen all the other shit that has gone through?
You know how many bills, Manny, that Donald Trump has signed in the 100 days he's been president? Total?
140
Probably
something.
zero.
No. Bills. Actual bills that went through the House, the Senate, and landed on his desk.
None. Zero in it.
5.
Yeah.
And all of them were bullshit bills.
You know what?
So the
Here's
point
another
is-
bullshit.
Point
with
is,
it.
he's bypassing congressional approval. He's not legislating anything. He's governing with executive orders, like a dictator.
Exactly, like a dictator. And what he is trying to do at this point is eliminate every single, not every single, because I'm married, so I have my husband's name, but my daughter can actually vote, but I can't.
So
You know,
far,
Bill
we
Maher
can.
is an example. It's just like Joe Scarsborough and Mika. They went down there and they kissed up on him, and Bill Maher did too. And you know why? Because Bill Maher, he tried to sue Bill Maher at one time, called his father orangutan as a joke. And you know what? He's never forgot it. And Bill Maher is scared. You know why he's scared? Because he could freeze, and there's nothing Bill Maher could do about it. He could freeze all his bank transactions, all his banking, and make them poor again. And permanent, and maybe jail
Fuck Bill
him.
Maher. Fuck
You
Bill
know?
Maher.
I hate Bill
Bill
Maher.
Maher is the reason we have the term political correctness. He's been an asshole since day one. He's never been funny. He's just been mean.
Yo, this
He's
is
never been funny.
so crazy.
I was born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts. Trump has been a joke since day fucking one.
That's why
Yep.
that's why you're awesome, because you're from Massachusetts. I think I don't know.
I'm a 60-year-old YT woman who has known Trump since day one.
Yeah,
And he's
but
been
Yeah, my wife is from New York. She could tell you the same thing, and she's about your age.
He's always been a
So,
big blowhard. This guy's never done anything.
but
He's never had a cool car. He's never had a pet, a dog or a cat. All he does is screw over people. That's always in all his life. I remember seeing him on Phil Donahue show, Dinah Shore show, Cavett. The same thing. He's always whining and crying. They won't let me do this. I'm trying to make New York a mess.
You fired.
But the fact is,
his fucking show. But you know what? Right now, he's taking away my ability to vote. He's trying to. And in the state I live in now, that will most likely happen. We're talking about Tom fucking Cotton. Yeah, Sarah.
you know, Tom Cotton.
I
He's
shit Huckabee. I mean,
ain't that the guy got 800 million insider trading? He made 800 million.
yeah.
yes. I mean, we're talking about the most fucking. All right, here's what I have to say. I was divorcing my husband, and the judge who was supposed to oversee our divorce proceedings couldn't be there because not only was he my husband's second cousin, but he was taken out of the courthouse 5 days earlier on 5 counts of indecency. So we had to have another judge show up. So my husband didn't even show up for our own divorce because he knew he wouldn't win because his cousin wasn't
Beautiful.
going to oversee it because he was sitting in federal jail.
yeah, wow, crazy.
That sounds very Republican. So very
That
on the
sounds
point.
very fucking nepotism. This is, I mean, like, my husband would say, oh, yeah, my family went to California because they were picking fruit. And I said, no, they were picking for new, fresh blood. I'm
Maybe,
sorry.
Maddie,
I just had a
are you,
tantrum.
Maddie? Sorry, where in Massachusetts are you?
I
No,
was
she's in
born
Arkansas.
and raised in Quincy, Massachusetts. I
Oh.
met my husband in Colorado. We moved to Arkansas, and my life has gone to shit since then.
Oh, sorry. Wait, so you don't live in Massachusetts? Why did I think you live? Okay,
Well, you mentioned Massachusetts. You mentioned Massachusetts. That's why.
you did.
Guys,
Oh, okay.
I want to appreciate everyone. Nick, thanks. Welcome to the team. Maddie, thank you very much. I love big cats. Kim, as always, thank you. You're always fun to talk to.
Yep.
Amazi, I appreciate your take. We both seen a lot of shit. That's the one thing I look at it. But I'm going to call it a night. I really appreciate you guys. I'm going to put this up on YouTube, my YouTube channel once it downloads at Binder38 US. Look for it there.
What, this
Guys,
conversation?
keep the faith.
Are
Say
you
again, sir?
serious? I just had a fucking temper tantrum.
Oh, you're
gonna put my
fine.
temper tantrum about YouTube?
Maddie,
You
Maddie,
are
okay.
you,
You're
Maddie.
fine.
Maddie. You got to go to a Rational Boomer podcast. This is minor
Yeah.
compared to what we do over there.
He might be coming on tonight, so you might want to look him up.
Yeah, that's a party.
It was nice
But
meeting you all.
anyway, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nick. It's been a pleasure. You guys stay safe and understand. Like I said, it's better to hang together than separately. Y'all be safe, okay?
Okay.
Thank
All
you. You
right,
too.
love y'all.
Hi, everyone.
Thank
Love you all.
Thank you.